often lead them to their own demise. Woquexel was unlike many of those in the simple fact that he was not dead. In fact, despite engaging in fights that seemed almost suicidal in odds, the Slayer had always emerged victorious. He had bested the strongest enemies while working for the Union, and as a pirate he had bested all of the encountered ship beasts in single combat. It was an egocentric trait of his to fight his enemies without interference. Uncharacteristic as that may be for a pirate, it wasn't without results, for Woquexel had never even come close to losing. From Tangle Thrashers to Draglings, he had survived to feast on their flesh. One weak and docile creature that had never seen true combat would be no match for his skill with a blade. Woquexel threw himself forward with a perfect stroking lunge as saliva trailed behind him. He thought of nothing but his sinking his jaws into that strange new flesh and wondering what flavors it might hold. His slow and steady panting made the steam rising off of the light rifle's barrel flow in a graceful pattern as it dissipated back into the contained atmosphere of the ship. It had come close to overheating from the massive use it had just been through, and along the outside of left casing there was a dark singe from where it had been hit by returning fire. That had been extremely lucky considering what that shot would have done to the individual carrying the weapon had the shot been angled only slightly higher. If the odds were to balance themselves, though, luck's debt had been paid with interest this cycle as far as the shipmaster was concerned. As she checked the monitors, she let out a hissing note of rage and frustration. The display for real-time signs of life in the other portions of the ship was not a welcome sight. Wherever crew members were displayed, the large hostile life forms also seemed to be. There was nothing to do but watch as the green dots of her crew began blinking out one by one. They had not been prepared for this type of assault, and to make things worse, they were running at half-staff. Even if they had all been armed, they were likely outnumbered anyways. A shudder ran through the ship and the monitor faded to black. If her guess was right, the boarding party had reached the engine room just then and dispatched the first FTL generator, supplying a majority of the power to the bridge. A second shutter rocked as they killed the second one, removing any hope of breaking free. At this point, all that was left running now was the life support and the distress signal. Yitale had barely been able to shut the bridge gates before half her crew had died in a brutal and savage massacre. They had only survived because she had spent every last round of light ammo on board the bridge in under a minute, and because she had the good fortune of not having her command stationed 12 units to the left. If that had been the case, the boarding party would have crashed directly into the middle.